But
and I'm all about meaningful conversations too, because I feel like a lot of times at work, and I get caught up in it too. At work and in life, we have like shallow conversations.
Exactly.
Like UT won, Vanderbilt won. I said that's cool. That's kind of shallow though.
Yep.
But like the good thing is the past year is I do have meaningful conversations with my coworkers, especially Miss Donna. I call Miss Donna Mama Donna.
Nice.
I joke around and say Mama Donna because she old enough to be my mom. She had enough life experience to be my mom.
Definitely.
But the communication here is great. The only thing that I'm going to vent a little bit about this is this frustrating. It's not being the only male in this atmosphere.
I'm glad you had that experience.
And that's why, too, the patience is increasing a lot because they do rely on me for a lot. And I rely on them for a lot, too. But being the only male, it's like I'm security. I'm peacemaker. And
Wow.
I'm like this and that. So doing all those things at once can sometimes be a little bit frustrating. And that's why this morning when I got flustered within the first hour of me being here, people just requesting a lot from me, I had to kind of chill out. But when I saw you, I was like, okay, I'm good. Y'all like, yeah. I'm like, I don't care if you showed up an hour like you would. I would have been ready for you. I was like, I need this meeting.
Wow.
Because, but what kind of brought on this whole conversation is just talking to one of my relatives and them basically kind of saying that, in a way, it kind of hurt my feelings, but in a way, it was true. Telling me I needed to up my game professionally.
I see.
Especially with this grant coming to an end, like another year and a half. 2020, our Jobs Plus National will be no more. I think it's the May 2020, if I'm correct. I'm not 100% sure. But I know it's 2020, Mr. Donovan. Sometime around that time,
I got you.
We're going to be transitioning. And like out of all the people I was thinking about, I could reach out to like Miss Ava, other coworkers here. I will say them by name, but the thing is, I need a male, preferably a black male, who is going to be like, "Hey, Joshua, these are some tips and tricks or whatever tips, advice that I will give you."
Definitely. Because
I've been trying to create some goals.
Gotcha.
So, and this has this whole meeting and stuff will help me with some specifically my career goals and my intellectual goals, but mainly career goals and professional goals.
Gotcha.
So the first thing that I kind of want to get your advice and tips on is, so we talked about this before, but professional care tips, dress, presentation, of course I know hygiene and stuff is related to that, but the main thing is concerning the professional dress and presentation. Like I said, someone kind of hurt my feelings what they said, the way I present myself or whatever. But then you got other people saying, "Oh, Joshua, you look nice" or whatever. So you got to kind of take it at a balance.
I got you.
You got to take it with a grain of salt because you got some people that will puff up your head, and then you got some people that just trying to tear you down or whatever. So there's a balance with that. But concerning my dress and presentation, I feel like I can do better and will do better.
I see.
Because to be honest, I would like to wear a shirt and tie and suit every day.
Gotcha.
But practically wise, when I'm out there walking around the community and stuff, it's like 90 degrees,
Yep.
And I'm walking in dirt and glass and dumpsters all around us and things like that. So that's kind of the first thing I kind of want to briefly discuss, was kind of get some advice on dress, presentation. And I know you told me you don't spend so much money on a suit. You kind of shop around and look around and things like that. And I'm a minimalist too, so I don't need a closet full of stuff.
Gotcha.
I just need like 4. I got plenty of ties, and all I need is some dress pants, few white shirts, few color shirts, and some dress shoes, and I'm good to go.
Gotcha.
So I don't need like 1,000 things like some.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, Jay, if you don't mind me asking, what, if it's not too personal, what did some of your family members say that discouraged you as far as your presentation?
Well, basically it was my mom. She said, Joshua, you look like, she's like, you need to up your dress and you need to present yourself, because again, my dad, going back to conversations I had with my dad, he always talked about how you got 2 strikes against you. And most people know what those 2 strikes are. He said, you're male and you're black. So I don't boo-hoo over it, but it's true and it's real. So with that in mind, I know my expectations are a little bit higher. So we have to do a little bit extra, not to kiss up or anything, but to just get our foot in the door in places that we need to be. But the comment that my relative specifically said was like, you dress like a high schooler. I was like, dang.
Got you.
So that kind of hurt me. And but it also motivated me because I was a little bit sensitive at first. Mm-hmm. I was like taking it personal. I was like, no, I don't. You know, because again, I'm comparing myself to people around me. Mm-hmm. So if I compare myself to people around me, yeah, I look a heck of a lot better. But again, if I'm talking to myself where I want to be 2-3 years from now, the Joshua in the future will be like, hey, you do need to dress better. You can do better than that. You know, don't compare yourself with the guys around you who are mediocre and average, not down to them, but who are average. You need to do above average, and I can do better. So that's one of the main things that kind of got me first talking about presentation and professional dress and all that good stuff.
Well, and first of all, I know what your mom stated was out of love, first of all.
Right.
Because I feel when she made that statement, she sees who you are and where you're going. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'll just be quite honest from my experience. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. Maybe I'm too naive and I see the best of humanity, but I'm also a realist to the fact that there are, according to results that I see in the world, with all due respect, there are 2 strikes against me.
Right.
You know, and there's people that, you know, just simply because of the color of my skin and being a male. Mm-hmm. Absolutely right. There's people in my circle that are not the color of my skin and are male that constantly give me a hard time because when I go to these different meetings and stuff, they're always giving me a hard time saying, Don, why do you always dress up? You ain't got to do all that. Yeah. But at the same time, for the respect, for the honor that I know you probably give me already, but I want it to be incontrovertible, is this is what I have to do. Right. And that's the reality situation. You know what I mean? I rather over-expect respect my professional craft and under-expect. Or if that makes sense, or rather...
over-prepared.
Over-prepared. I mean, this is what... I mean, again, but it goes into your mentality. Right. So the presentation... to me, is about your attitude. Mm-hmm. Your presentation is about what your mind is telling you, how you see yourself. Because if you have a focus on your end goal, where you want to see yourself in your career, which indirectly affects and plays a role in your personal life, you're going to conduct yourself as such. There's not going to be anything that's going to deter you from getting to where you know you're going. Right. And therefore, that's your presentation based upon your attitude is going to determine your professionalism. Okay. So some really great points that you actually brought up. So for example, up your dress. Only for me is because the game that I'm looking to play, which at some point is international relations, international affairs, and just ensuring that I'm over prepared. That's what I'm dressing like now. You know what I mean? Right. Because we are who we are. Somebody said, well, I don't want to ramble too much, but someone once told me, you know, the seed, let's say if it's a apple tree, the seed of that apple tree, even though it's a small little speck, everything that the apple tree is going to become is already in that small seed. That's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's not even any point to even play the game. Right. You know that you're a tree. You know that you are wherever you're going to be. So start conducting yourself as such towards yourself, and you'll find in reality in life, people will do the same thing because they see you investing in yourself. Therefore, they're going to invest in you. Right. You know what I mean? So, so with that being said, I walk with higher expectations. I put more pressure on myself than I probably need to. That's why I was stressing 10 minutes. I literally was stressing to get here. Like I was like, because if Joshua doesn't see me as someone that's respectable and focused on time management, and then how is he going to respect who I am in my career? It's true. You know what I'm saying? True. And that's how I see you. That's how I see everyone. You could be homeless. If I say I'm going to beat me there, be there at a certain time, I'm going to be there. Right. You know what I mean? If not, I'm going to text or whatever. But I think that's a good role for husbands in relationships or boyfriends. Like if you're going to be late or if you're going to be there and you can't do it, make sure you call the women. Because out of respect, because that's how they respect you. You know what I mean? And I demand nothing but respect for some reason. You know, that's my attitude.
And just reading between the lines of what some of your coworkers are saying, when I hear why you do that, what I reading between the lines, it's like, man, why you doing too much? You making me look bad.
Exactly.
That's basically what they're saying. They're saying you looking too much. It's the same thing when you got someone staying 1 hour after basketball practice. in the gym doing layups and free throws or whatever. Man, why you staying? They want you to be like them, but they say you're doing too much. So by you doing too much, they gotta feel like they gotta up their game, and they don't want to do that because most of us are lazy.
You hit the nail on the coffin when you said, "Well, I want to be in a pursuit to become above average." Mm-hmm. And there's so many average individuals, but as you get to the top of the triangle, if you will, or the point gets thinner. You know what I mean? And that's where you are looking for people that are leaders or pioneers. And so we're having a conversation of above average men. That's just what this conversation is about. So I'm giving you the insight. And so, for example, if someone says, well, you dress like a high schooler, that means you'll be an outstanding high school teacher. You know what I mean? Okay. But do you see yourself dressing like the superintendent?
Or the principal.
You know what I mean? So therefore, they see the skills, but what message are you sending? And I think it's 90, at least 90%, if not 93%, of communication is nonverbal. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
you
ain't got. So if you across the room and you see me, then you should. And I don't say nothing to you that whole meeting. Yeah. You already know what time it is based upon my presentation. You know what I mean? And then once you talk to me, then my presentation shows not only my presentation, but it also shows my professionalism. Right. So hopefully all that makes sense. But in a lot of ways, what you simply stated was what I just reiterated because it's very true. You know, as far as the two strikes, and you know, there's no, especially in this time of the world. Yeah. You know, we have no room to put things a chance, to put things to the test.
Unnecessarily, for sure.
Unnecessarily. Exactly.
We can't control everything.
Exactly.
I just don't want to be like caught up like some of our other brothers who are just moping and whining. The system trying to give me. I said that's not the best use of your time. It's not and energy. The best use. You know, you trying to move a building by yourself. You might need to try to move a box first before you try to move a building.
Absolutely.
And,
well said.
Yeah, and using your time and energy is something I continually talk to with my clients when they get frustrated about the smallest things or whatever. Even with me getting frustrated or flustered this morning, it wasn't the best use of my energy to get flustered. I could have taken one issue or one request at a time and knock it out instead of seeing it as like, dog, I just got 5 things dumped on me. Let me take care of the easiest one and get done with that.
Great point.
Yeah.
Hopefully I was able to answer your question to some degree with that. Yes. What's the next one? So if you don't mind me asking, what answers did you, or what information did you take out of my answers? If you don't mind me asking.
I took
from your question.
The old saying is like dress where you want to be, not where you are. Concerning with the dress. And be above average. So if you got individuals telling you do too much, that's right. That's
exactly.
good. That's cool.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of like if you're trying to save up money and get out of debt. If you don't have people saying you're weird, man, you shop at Dollar General, you get your clothes from this place. You know, okay, that's cool. That means you're on the right path.
Exactly.
But you still at the mall and stuff, spending all your money. You know, on track. You know, because you're doing what everybody else is doing.
And to piggyback off of that, I'm sorry. To piggyback off of that, when I first moved to Nashville, and I only had a few dollars, and I would go into the world outside of my janitorial job. I would dress like this, and where I was walking in and out of the neighborhood, they was literally shooting in the morning and night, smoking, shooting craps. Yeah. Good people. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, when I walked in and out the door on the bus, this is what I had on. What you see me today, and I feel like that was to some degree a reason why they gave me grace. They was like, okay, well, he's clearly not even trying to play this game. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Either I felt like they're gonna try to rob me. You know what I mean? Or but I say, well, I'm walking because the bus. They're
going to be like, he undercover.
I get that so much.
Right. They're going to be like, I can't mess with him. He cares.
I get that so much. And just to even say as far as the thriftiness, the shirt that you see, I just bought 2 days ago for 99 cents that I have on. And I shop at the Goodwill. I'll put that on record. Any thrift stores you'll catch me at. There's a spot, Youth About Business, where they have a sale for men where for $10 you can fill up a black trash bag. You know what I'm saying? Of clothes that are under $10, and so I guess where I get my suits, you know what I mean? Fill it up, and so like even at the Goodwill, I'm like $4.99 for a shirt. That's too expensive, you know what I'm saying? So everything that I buy literally is a 99-cent thing. I try to, and that's so you can look the part and still be thrifty. So
right, and that's one thing too. I thought I had spent so much money again with me practicing minimalism and just being intentional about the things I buy. I know I learned my lesson that you do have to go spend just a little bit extra time and energy on quality stuff. I buy stuff at Walmart and got compliments on things I buy at Walmart, but it doesn't last long. But I've gotten compliments on things I bought from Walmart. Man, Josh, you look so nice. Yep. They don't even know. I went to Walmart, just aired it, took it to the dry cleaners and buy some decent shoes, and I'm good to go. And another thing I got is high expectations. I do have expectations for myself. It's kind of like, it's the same as goals or objectives. So I have goals, objectives, or expectations for myself, and they are higher. So nice. It's good to hear every once in a while, you're doing a good job or whatever, but what can I do to exceed that amount? What can I do to, if someone says you look nice, what can I say? Be like, dog, you finna go to a banquet or something like that. And without having a snobbish attitude. And again, people are going to feel that from your body energy and your body language, and they're going to be like, oh, is he snobby, or is he just real serious about what does he do and everything. And that's what I want to be seen as while I'm here.
I'm going to give you a tip too. I hope not cut you off, but as far as going out into the community when it's hot, when I transitioned from working full-time career in marketing to start my own business, I was driving in my car, and I made a personal goal of reaching out to knocking on 100 businesses a week, like going in, cold call, passing my business card, 100 businesses a week, 400 a month. And when I was doing that, my air conditioner wasn't working. So the first week and a half, I would go in and introduce my business with a little one sheet that I printed and my business card, and I would come in soaking wet with a suit and tie on. I mean, I took my jacket off, but I had just like this little dress shirt rolled up with my tie on, and I would come in, my AC was off. My wife even went as far as going to Walmart to buy, supposedly it was 102 degrees every day in the summer, July, and June. Rough, and she bought like a little pack. I'll see if I can find a picture and send to you. That you put it around your neck and you keep it in the freezer. It's supposed to keep you cool.
Keep it cooler.
But by the end of the day, that thing was frizzled up and just through. Like, you know what I mean? That's how hot it was. My point was, and it got to a point where my third week into me introducing my business to the community, I think I was on my 300th business. I decided to say, Danavan, you can't go in there and look the way you do, sweating all in, because I would get more water bottles by the end of the day, for the people. Can I give you a water bottle? I look sad, but
it
was seriously. I would come in and try to, and they love my pitch, but it just looked like they could tell I was just grinding, and I had to get hip to the fact that when I was going out, I would wear black dress shirts, so that way they couldn't tell that I was sweating. But the bottom line was, in regards to that, was again the expectations that when I walk into your building, knowing the fact that I'm a male and African American, I need you to respect what I'm talking about. And for the fact that they even seen those two things, they may have saw some dampness, but they couldn't really tell. I had to learn. I couldn't adjust to, when we put on a nice little short sleeve or something like that, because I still wanted them to see me as the business professional that I am. So I just want to throw that out there.
There's something different about short sleeves. Those just don't look right.
That's not my style. Dwight Schrute from The Office wears them all the time.
Some people do, but I'd rather be burning up and wear a long sleeve and look nicer than a short sleeve.
I roll it up, try to pull, I don't know if this is lint on this side, so forgive me from the jacket, but as close as I can get.
Do you also have any concerning presentation and dress? I've also been slacking on this area too. And this is another area that my relative, who again said out of love, commented on. And I told them, I said, have been slacking on the facial stuff as well. Do you also have any presentation and care tips concerning that as well?
It's a necessity. Okay. It's all part of the one big package. So the clothes, the grooming, the odor, all those things play a role in the overall success, of getting your mission done for that day or that meeting. So I shave in regards to, and I probably don't need to, but I edge myself. I bought edgers. You know what I mean? You got to maybe invest $10 and go to. But I bought edgers. I shave every day, and I even went and bought like a little shaver machine.
Like a wall.
And there you go. And do it every day. Even though you can go 2-3 days, but at the same time, because of the strikes and knowing the expectations, I don't put nothing to the test. So. That's me.
That's real. That's real. Because I like I said, I told you, I'll just be honest.
I've been
slacking on the area. And all right, so the second thing is kind of going to career advice, because like I told you earlier in this conversation, our grant is coming to an end in about a year and a half, if I'm correct. I don't know the exact date, but obviously I'm not going to wait till the last month to look for a career, look for a job. I'm going to be on my grind looking before, a few months in advance. That's the same thing I did before I even got this role. I was in AmeriCorps. In AmeriCorps, you basically volunteering, getting a low income. You on salary, you're getting a stipend, but it's very low.
I got you.
So that's how, and it was a blessing that the gentleman who was before me, Mr. Matt, kind of transitioned out, and I applied and got the career coach position.
Nice.
So that's how thank God for that, because that stipend was like, yeah, if I didn't have support from the family, I wouldn't have made it. Let me just say that.
I hear you.
So I love working with people, and I see how the higher we go up, and this is not every organization, every company, but the more people are concerned about numbers, the more you have to answer emails and be behind the desk. So I'm thankful that there are times where I have to be behind the desk, but there are also times where I'm out there knocking on doors too. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but that's one thing my clients know me for out here. They say, Mr. Josh, you always out here knocking on doors. Well, I'm not, they over-exaggerate. I'm not always out there, but I'm out there at least 2 to 3 times a week.
I see.
Because that's one of my written goals that I've been trying to create for just this job. While I'm here, I have weekly goals. And one of mine is to visit like so many clients per week.
I see.
And that means I need to get out there. I speak Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese. That came over within the past 5-7 years.
Wow.
So that ain't come overnight. But that's one of my passions too. And the next stage after this, and I may need to travel. I know Ms. Donna DA, she told me that I might need to be open-minded to moving or traveling. And I am. But with those skills, I'm just like, I want to utilize my Spanish, or I want to utilize my Brazilian Portuguese. I don't want just to have that and practice that outside of work, but not use it at work. Because individuals who have those kind of skills, whether it's typing or speaking a language, they sharpen that because they do it and utilize that on their job. So I'm a people's person.
Nice.
I love diversity. Like I said, I complain sometimes being the only male here, but it's actually a good thing because it's helping me work on my patience. But also, too, we have great communication here.
Nice.
Even though I get flustered or annoyed with my name is called 50 times a day, but that's communication. I'm not having someone just throw something on my desk and I say good morning.
Absolutely.
Everybody here says good morning, what's up? Now, they might get back into that conversation that they were talking about, but everybody here speaks. And I don't know if I'm going to have that next job opportunity or next whatever. So that's just a few things about me career-wise. Again, I don't want to be behind the desk. I speak different languages. I like people's person. I like getting out there in the community and doing stuff that's uncomfortable that most people won't do.
I see.
Yeah, so I'm open-minded to staying in social work. I got my degree in recreation and sports, and I've used that a little bit. I had a background of working at the YMCA and like a recreation center when I was in MTSU for a year or so, a year and a half. And that's the hard job to get because everybody wants to be in the gym and work there. But I'm open-minded to almost anything. As long as it don't conflict my morals and values and we're not undermining people, I'm cool.
Definitely.
Definitely. And the main thing is, too, second point is, as long as my supervisor is approachable and coachable too, but also approachable and communicates well, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Because if that supervisor is giving me a hard time, you can usually find out within the first few weeks, then it's going to be rough. It might be not quitting, but it might be trying to transition to do something else because it's not worth that stress.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. With your skills, and I guess it's a two-part conversation because your skills, you definitely are on your way. But I would say as far as career advice, like even what I'm doing now, because tomorrow's not promised. And so even what I'm doing now, I say, hey, Jay, can I record this? Because if I ever have to get employment again, I need people to know that I'm skilled at what I do.
Right.
And so this type of conversation will give somebody a better understanding of who Danavan Hylton is and what's going on in his mind. So I'm always recording something. I don't know if you go on Facebook at all, but I'm always recording something, doing some type of audio, doing some type of picture. So that way I'm loading up my Facebook personally, my business Facebook, I'm loading up my LinkedIn. So that way, even as I'm working my own business right now, if someone says, well, dang, I want to offer this gentleman a 6-figure income salary, I want to be able to receive that and decide. You know what I'm saying? So, and say yes or no. But that comes from me, like you said, positioning myself in the right place way ahead of time. I always tell my sons the best are ready because they stay ready. And again, nothing's promised tomorrow. So therefore, with you saying, well, hey, just career advice, and we're transitioning well in advance, it's going to make your transition less scary.
Right.
It's going to make it fun, and it's going to be something that's going to be upon your time, something that you want, compared to being in a position where you have to just take anything, and psychologically that's going to set you back, and you may end up making decisions, because usually if you're going to a particular direction and the first step you take, no matter how many steps you take after that, you're already heading in the wrong direction.
Right. And in slang terms, we don't want to be thirsty. Like, I just got
Exactly.
And since I've been here, I've seen a few come by with MDHA and other organizations. Ooh, look at that. And people telling me to do it. But I have actually held off because just because it pays better and you got the qualification doesn't mean I'm ready for it. And people don't see that. They think, oh, you should have gone for it anyways. And I think it takes a certain amount of maturity to be like, I will be ready for that, but not yet. Let me just sit and chill and be content with what I have. And then too, when I've seen at least 2 positions kind of like, ooh, and everybody telling me to go for it in my bubble, people in my professional bubble telling me to go for it. I also held off too because I look at this job and I'm like, there's still work that needs to be done. I just started building relationship with my clients, healthy relationships, and they're starting to know me and I'm getting to know them, and I just don't want to leave them hanging. So I don't feel like shackled to the job. I feel like there's a part of obligation that there's still work that needs to be done. So let me hold on to this a little bit longer.
You're a wise man. You're following your spirit. You're that's pretty much the path that I was on. When I came here homeless, something my spirit said, Donovan, consider going to Tennessee. Donovan, consider holding off when you're doing this or pursue that. And usually when you do that and not appear thirsty or go after those things, especially when you have people out of love saying, go for it. Those are tests, at the same time to see, where your morals and your ethics and your values are. You know your values. You know where you want to go. And so therefore, when it's time for you to move, you'll know when to move.
And it gets complicated too, especially people edge you.
I know.
It might be your spouse, your kids, or your mentor that's been there for 30 years. Oh man, you can do it. And you can easily be like, man, I'm going to do this. But sometimes I try to be, I try to just keep a level head in a situation. I try to sit back. And you got everybody telling you should do it. And I've had people tell me that before, and I've ignored all of them. Not ignored them. I heard them, out of respect, I listened to them, but I'm just like, no, I'm not going for it. And just take the criticism. Oh man, you silly, you foolish for not doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, okay, cool, and just move on.
That's it.
You have to have a lot of self-esteem in yourself just to make your decision and not look back and get caught up on like, oh, they told me I should have done this and this, and now I regret that. Now you make a decision, you just keep moving forward.
I always say in the biblical context, the book of Job, I don't know exactly which chapter and verse, but Job, the book of Job, it says, naked alone you were born, naked alone. So at the end of the day, you even with
can't take it with you, man.
Your spouse, your children, at the end of the day, you know what you're supposed to do. And just to bring it back to your point, I'm going to see if I can, and if you could text me when I leave out of here. I'm going to send you a link to an assessment that can really give you a better understanding of your skills, your strengths, your weakness, and your career. I want to say, for someone like you, especially being multilingual, if that's bilingual, if you will, or multilingual, there is and the world going global, there is a huge need, and there's a lot of recruiting for African Americans to take great professional jobs overseas because African Americans provide a very unique culture and perspective, very diverse already, and like for example Jamaica, and I know a lot of countries within the African Union are saying we need African Americans to come out here and to work with us or for us because traditionally African Americans are at least 60 years ahead educational wise than the traditional African diaspora overseas. So I will never, for you or even myself, I will never not look overseas. Especially with you saying, you're a social person, a people's person. As long as you have those qualities, you can go anywhere you want. You know what I mean? And like you brought up the word diversity. It can go into a professional setting or the fact that you have recreational and sports, recreational sports. Someone told me I'm working on doing some international business now, and I went to a small business Development Center workshop, and they were talking about international trade, and they made a very interesting point. They said over 90% of individuals' business or individuals, people that need to buy your service or product can be found overseas right now compared to you selling your product or service
locally.
You know what I mean? Okay. So at some point, I would definitely encourage anyone to expand their horizon, expand their reach, because you'll be surprised where you have a lot more opportunities overseas. Right. Where you can make an educated decision on, do I want to stay local or do I want to go? So I will never want to deter you from that. And also I'm going to send you a link to this assessment that I took that can help you better position and make an educated decision as well.
And if you would have this conversation about going global a few years ago, I would be like, no, I don't have the money and resources. But now when just practicing and trying to stay on top of the foreign languages that I speak, it has opened up my mind so much. But also, too, I'm just like, I'm an African-American male who speaks a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of Brazilian Portuguese. And those languages are growing. And more Americans are doing business with Brazil. And we have a huge Hispanic population here in the United States within itself. So I'm just like, it's practical. So I'm glad I didn't take those classes and continue to build that skill for naught.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm getting my degree in left-hand puppetry.
Exactly.
I'm not.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you can go to California and get a great career, African American, just for the fact that you speak Spanish.
Right.
I come from California. It's almost to the point now. It's in the curriculum for African Americans to learn Spanish because that's the number one market. That's where people, you know what I mean. And so, especially African American in the South, we got to learn that soon. Right. You know what I mean? And I think it was
we catching up. We still behind.
Yeah,
we still behind on that.
And I think it's China, Russia, the U.S. and Brazil, which I believe, I forgot what that synonym is, but I believe those are the countries that are pictured to be at the forefront of global trade moving forward. So conglomerate, they decided to do, I forgot what it's, but you in fact, as you said, speaking Brazil, the Brazil language, you're a step ahead of the game, man. So it's really almost, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? And walk boldly in that.
Right.
Yep.
And just stay open-minded when those career opportunities come by.
Yep.
So that helps me out a lot career-wise. Like I said, it is, like you just said a second ago, it is like what I want to do. What you want to do, Joshua? Yep. I could get advice from everybody all day, but with the skills and the passions that I have, it's up to me to just decide to pursue what someone else is telling me, or to pursue some of my passions and stuff that are out there. And that kind of goes into like number 3, what I text you about, assistance with creating career goals. That's gonna probably have to come within myself as well. Yeah,
I was about to bring that up.
Like if you were my older brother or something, or my dad or something like that, then you can help me with that. Yep. But I've been creating goals specifically for weekly goals that we have here as a career coach, and that's been going well. Like, we have a young lady here. She's in AmeriCorps. I'm working with her. Nice. And I want weekly meetings with her, at least one. Yep. Okay, so that's the goal, right? Yep. It might be having meaningful conversation with Miss Donna once a week, or with Miss Ava, or whoever once a week. And also, too, it might be knocking on a certain amount of doors. Yep. So I'm creating that. I'm just kind of critiquing it and just getting it down, and have that in front of my laptop or on my wall whenever I, stand up or sit down and I'm typing stuff. I could be like, well, have I visited 5 people? And one of them, too, since we're supposed to help people with employment, this might seem like a short goal or not a strong goal, but mine is to get one person per week from unemployed to employed. Nice. Now, that's not a lot, but to a person who's been unemployed to get a job, that's a lot. Absolutely. And it takes work, because you got to apply, and you got to come in, you got to bring them in first. You had to have quiet time to apply and get their resume, cover letter together. So I just start off with one. I ain't trying to employ 5 people from unemployed to employ, because that's unrealistic for me. But one person is it's a challenge. I can see that. But it's also realistic, But when I get to the 3 and 4 or 5, that's too much for right now. I try to focus on that towards moving on.
Well, let me ask you this, JC, if you don't mind me asking personally. When it's all said and done in your career, where do you see yourself with your career when it's all said and done?
Man, just continue to work a meaningful job and position. I know a lot of people live to retire. I don't live to retire, but I just want to do something that's fulfilling, That's how I'm being an asset to society, to my coworkers, to the population that I'm working with. As long as I'm doing those things, the main thing is doing something meaningful that doesn't conflict with my morals and values. I'm cool.
I would challenge you, if you can, you've probably already done this, if you look up humanitarian.
Okay.
I think that's what, I feel at the minimum that's what you are, a humanitarian. And if you look into humanitarian, you can also find out what careers are involved in humanitarianism.
Right.
That's a word. And the reason why I say that is because I would almost challenge you to come up with a career goal. I know you have the duties of what you would like, or possibly, I think that was the words, but if it was all said and done, like me, I want to be the business owner of a multinational corporation that bridges gaps communication-wise, economically, development-wise between countries.
And that's a smart goal.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
specific.
Very specific. And that's going to go into our smart. Yeah, it's going to be very specific because, like, so for example, I have this affirmation I've been saying. I'm so happy and grateful for earning $900,000 in sales each month beginning April 2017. In return, I plan to develop myself personally and teach those sent to me the secret art of life. I will develop low-income communities in the U.S. and develop third world countries overseas, and I'll serve as the best husband and father possible. So shall it be. I've been saying that, like I said, April 2017. That sounds like a
mission statement.
That's every morning I say it. And like I said, I was saying this April, my goal was April 2017, $900 in sales. So for me to say that, I think I came up with this in like 2016. You know what I mean? But my point is, I know very specifically, and I'll probably go into our next question, where I want to go. And so every decision that I make, career-wise, personally, does that fall in line with where I'm going? Because that's going to help me make a decision on if I should drink this, smoke that, whatever.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. Because I know...
Like my mission statement, you just go back to that. And it's funny you said that because I actually been working on a mission statement. I've been critiquing it. And it might be a freaking paragraph, but as long as I got one and I look at that and I read that every day like my goals, I'm like, does this line up with this? And it don't line up with this, it gotta go. And you just be disciplined enough to cut it off if you gotta cut it off.
That's what you call your values, which is basically your behavioral patterns each day. I always like to, and for those to find out where they are, I always suggest that people create a vision board. And I've done to write a vision board, and because 3-4 years ago, if you asked me specifically what I wanted to do, I wouldn't even tell you. I would have gave you some type of, I would like to be here and doing this, but now it's very specific. You know what I mean? Like if I had to work for myself, this is what I'd be doing. If I had to work for the government, this is what I'd be doing. If I had to work for a traditional employer, this is what I want to be doing.
Right.
So I even have all those sectors planned out. And that way, like I said, it literally will help determine your steps in life. It'll help determine your presentation, and it'll help determine your professionalism as well.
And they say too, you heard this before, if you write it down, they say you're more likely to achieve it. And that's why I'm going old school. And with my weekly goals here, I'm writing them down and I'm going to type them up nice and neat and just put them in different locations that I can see it. So I can be like, have I done this week? Have I achieved this goal? And then when I'm knocking that out easily, maybe if I'm getting one person employed from unemployed to employed and I've done it 3 months straight, how about bumping up to 2? You know what I'm saying? But I want to hold that down, those realistic goals down first before I move on to that. But yeah, definitely vision board's the same thing. It's not writing it, but it's putting pictures and on a board and you looking at it. That represents something. That picture, that word represents. Some people put words on the vision board. That represents where I want to be and move on in life, or where am I headed towards. And another kind of topic thing I want to talk about with you is that, do you have any book recommendations? Like, you have like I've been recommending like the 7 highly effective habits of effective, successful people, something like that. And you got this book and that book. So like, do you have any book recommendations on your mind that you can be like, hey Jay, this would be a good one for you? It could be personal, could be spiritual, could be professional development. And if you don't, that's something else you can shoot me an email, text me about later.
Definitely. And I have a personal collection of books. I took a picture, but I'll let you see after the meeting. As far as just like it's busting out the bookshelf scene. These books that I've read, but I thought about your question. I brought some with me.
Okay.
Let's see.
Problem solved.
I brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books.
Okay.
The first book that I would suggest is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read this to you real quick. The Richest Man in Babylon is one of the greatest of all inspirational works on the subject of thrift and personal wealth, with fascinating and informative parables. The book offers a financial plan to put you on the road to riches that will guide you through your lifetime. So there's 7 key points, and one is teaches how to save your money, how to control your expenses, how to invest your money, how to save your money from loss, how to own land and property, how to invest in a retirement plan and life insurance, as well as how to perfect yourself in your calling.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with Babylon at all, they would say it was one of the wealthiest nations. Because everybody was eating. You know what I mean? So it was just their mentality, their mindset. So that's the first book. The second book.
You gave me half a year's worth. That's right. So if I read one book a month, I'm good.
That's it.
6 months.
Second book I have here is Power versus Force.
Okay.
It's a really good book that advocates the quest for an organized understanding of the nature of pure consciousness, pure awareness. This book is devoted to the process of making the simple obvious. And if we can understand even one simple thing in depth, we can have greatly expanded our capacity for comprehending the nature of the universe and life itself.
Okay.
That's more of a spiritual thing for me.
Right.
People don't, the word universe, when you break it down, uni means one, verse means travel. And so I always say universe means one that travels, and if you think about energy, it's neither created nor destroyed. So that's why the spirit is constantly, hitting different aspects. Another conversation.
Right.
What I love about this book the most, and, if I can find it, a really great book. So there's these, and what I love about the book the most is this book has energy levels.
Okay.
Starting with, or a map of consciousness, if you will.
Okay.
This is a scientific book, but energy levels, the levels of human consciousness. This book was written and by Nobel, or partly by, in conjunction with the Nobel Peace Prize winner. Energy level 20, shame, guilt, which is energy level 30. These are things that are, literally broken down to acceptance. These are all fear-based perspectives, all the way up to energy level 1000, which is enlightenment. You have peace, love, and what those energies are, and it breaks it down to where there's a lot of truth and fact in that. So that's a good book. As well. Another book that I advocate for folks to read, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Okay, I heard this before. I've heard this before. Never read it.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a great read. I suggest anybody to read it. It's a practical guide for men and women for improving communication and getting what you want in a relationship. I feel it's imperative, especially if you're working with the opposite sex, not only in your career, but also in your personal life. I'm going to read you a couple of excerpts here. That's the word. So, for example, states here, a man's sense of self is defined through his ability to achieve results. So women may not know that. You know what I'm saying? I'll read that one more time. A man, and maybe this is different than today's time. I don't know, but from this perspective at that time, a man's sense of self is defined through his ability to achieve results. To offer a man unsolicited advice is to presume that he doesn't know what to do or that he can't do it on his own. And so when a woman is saying, well, let me help you do this or help you do that, and the man already has an attitude, it's because even though the woman's trying to help, the man feels like that's my job instinctually, from the pure conscious level. So from the woman's side, a woman's sense of self is defined through her feelings and the quality of her relationships. So she's going to come to a man from that perspective because she wants to have a quality relationship. And so she wants to help, but indirectly she's pushing the man away because he wants to figure it out on his own. Generally speaking, when a woman offers unsolicited advice or tries to help a man, she has no idea of how critical and unloving she may seem to him at that time. So you'll get a lot more arguments than cooperation.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Just on
That's
GP.
true.
And so I'm not saying this is
I've seen it.
Yeah. So it's not like this is the
it.
answer to it all, but it gives you a perspective that opens your mind to say, well, you know what? Let me have a different angle at looking at things.
Right.
The last book, actually I have 2 more books. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, of course.
Okay.
This book here, and this is not the book here. I have he has a bunch of series. But Rich Dad Poor Dad advocates the importance of financial literacy, financial independence, and building wealth through investing in assets, real estate investing, starting and owning businesses, as well as increasing one's financial intelligence to improve one's business and financial aptitude. It teaches you the 4 quadrants, the difference when it comes to wealth. You have employees, you have self-employed, you have business owners, and you have investors. And so I don't want to take too much of your time, but employee is someone that earns their income, meaning they have to come to work hourly or for a salary. A business owner is someone that makes their money from the human capital or the technology and receiving a profit. Self-employed is just like being employed, except for your income tax. Your income tax bracket is different to where you have to physically do the work, but you're doing it without the W-2. You're doing it with the I-9, in so many words. You know, you're an independent contractor. So your first step is employed, then self-employed, then a business owner, and then an investor is someone that just takes their money and just lets it work for them all day long. They're not doing nothing. This particular book is a great book. Once you read the first book, he has a bunch of different books in the series. This one is Before Quitting Your Job, 10 real life lessons every entrepreneur should know about building a multi-million-dollar business. That's a great read. And the last book would be by Mr. Tom Riger, Breaking the Fear Barrier. And this book is good because it's talking about mostly business corporations, but I think it's good personally, how fear destroys companies from the inside out and what to do about it. A company's worst enemy is not always the competition. Sometimes it's the fear that lives within its own walls. And I think that goes back into sometimes looking into your own community and the limitation mindset. You know what I mean? It's really okay. It's not necessarily what's going on that way. Could be what's going on within you. I hate people may not want to bring that up, and it could be kind of tricky. But
they don't want to bring it up.
They don't want to bring it up.
Look for excuses.
Exactly. So, for example, the fear barrier. Like, say, if you're working for a company and there's different departments, a department might say, "Well, I get a certain budget every year, and I know that if I report us saving $20,000, then next year I might not receive that extra $20,000, and it might make my job a little harder. But instead of promoting and reporting the truth, they'll say, well, I'll report that we spent the whole thing, and therefore indirectly you're taking away from the company because they could have been using that $20,000 for something else. You know what I mean? So that's still fear-based. You know what I mean? Or you might end up saying, well, you know what? Like you said, I'm a manager, but I see this person working hard, and so therefore I'm going to make their life a little harder in the office. You know what I mean? And therefore you're decreasing productivity for the greater good. You know, so these are the books at the minimum that they touch financial, spiritual, to some degree emotional. And if I was going to say, if you wanted to read any one of these books, pick one and you can take it with you, and I'll pick it up another time if you felt like you wanted to read, if anyone caught your attention. These are very sacred books to me, but
he's like, kidding. He's like, no. I was like, dang, I appreciate you, bro. And then I come back with this light just shining. He's like, whoa, Josh is different.
Hey, you know, I trust you. I trust you that much. If you feel like you want to take the whole
that's cool
package,
that's good. I do need to just take one.
Gotcha.
Just read one at a time. And then I can always meet up.
Exactly.
The next one. I'm trying to see which ones. I have been the past few months learning about finances, but I don't know which one's the most practical right now. But I might need to read just to get it started. Just to get it started, babe.
The richest man in Babylon. Start with that one. It's a really small read compared to the other ones, and it'll just give you a broad perspective. That's a really great book to read. And
cool. So that's take care of that. I appreciate it.
More than welcome.
And that way too, I ain't got to order on Amazon. Just meet up with you or something. And borrow that. But that's good because I'm always looking for. I've been educating myself a little bit more about finances. And I'm not there where I should be. That I'm not into like stocks and bonds.
I hear you.
But I want to be kind of aware of it. I want to be aware of how to say. I'm trying to get out of debt.
I hear you.
I realize the importance of getting out of debt and just start borrowing money. Because there's I know Mr. Dave Ramsey. He's real popular with this, but he always quotes the scripture about the borrower slave to the lender. And when I borrow money from you, whether you're a church member, relative, a co-worker, friend, or whatever, I gotta pay you back. I'm your slave for a little bit. And sometimes too that can ruin relationships because if I don't give it back within a month and I say I'm gonna have it by October 1st and then October 3rd or 5th comes around and it's still not there and I haven't communicated anything to you, it can put a strain on relationships. So one of my financial goals is I want to get to the point where I don't have to borrow money.
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, I ain't trying to be no millionaire, but I want to get to the point where like, oh man, do you need help with that? Nah, I got it.
Exactly.
And I'm helping out somebody else. But in order for me to do that, I got to take baby steps and, like, use my finances wisely, get out of debt, pay off all my college loans that I'm chipping away at, just taking those little chips at it, big chips if I can. But I'm glad you recommend books. I want to be reading. I don't know. What's your thought on watching television? Your personal thought?
Personally, I don't watch it as much as I don't watch it simply because I just learned with the fact of TV, it's a lot of negative energy that comes out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like the news, I don't watch the news. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not oblivious to it. I know that stuff passes
like
through.
Like a tornado coming.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm not the type of person that's like going to literally sit there and watch TV. I made my mind up about 3 years ago. Yeah. And so you may catch me watch 5 hours, maybe 10 a week. Okay. Maybe. A lot of times those movies are on Netflix that I watch. Or the TV I watch is on Netflix because a lot of times there's very specific things that I want to watch. So, for example, on Netflix, you'll catch me watch like different political movies or shows, office shows or professional shows, like Secret Service shows. It's things that I want to learn that's going to pertain to my end goal that will help me get a different perspective. You know what I mean? But as far as like, I mean, there's some things that just on TV that just designed to just
get you trapped.
Just get you trapped. You know what I mean?
Get you everybody's following.
Yeah, and like all that, and literally
like sheep.
that's what I'm saying. So and you got to keep in mind, people are actually. It's called chaos theory, and that's where people actually create a situation to get you in a position emotionally to give a reaction, so that they can say, look what they did, and this is why I'm doing it. So sometimes people won't actually do what their original plan is outright. Right. They will make themselves blameless by enticing you and keep pushing you for you to react, so that they can give a reason as to why they did what they did. It's called chaos theory. And
I definitely believe in that because I observed it and I've seen it, not only at this job, but before I even knew or heard about chaos theory, I observed it, just thinking about past memories and being in high school and college, things like that. Yeah, that's true. And what a lot of people don't know is, too, even when we teach our little class, our little professional development class here, and I tell people it needs to be 6 weeks. And they're just like, wait, talking about Mr. Josh Hill? I said, this little Saturday class that y'all do and this little Monday through Thursday class that I do is not enough. It's not enough with the issues that we have seen with our clients with coming in their pajamas and cussing out their balls and being aggressive and angry and talking to us in disrespectful ways at times. I said, this little one class is not enough, but it's a good start. Absolutely. But very few people be like, oh, you're right, it's not enough. I do need to achieve more and obtain more. But definitely I feel like a key to just decreasing our stress is to turn off the television or decrease it. So many people come to me, do you watch this, watch that?
I haven't seen.
No.
Nope.
And again, I gotta take the persecution in that. You should watch this. You should watch that. I watch a few documentaries every once in a while. And again, somebody watch a little cool action movie. I like seeing stuff blow up. And so one person kick people butt. I'm like, okay, cool. He's doing his martial art thing or whatever. But it's not going to be like on a regular. It's not going to be every single day of 6 hours of television.
And you'll be surprised, the overachievers, with all due respect, they don't watch as much TV as the masses would. You know what I mean? Because they had to do something that's different, than what everybody else does in order to be in that leadership or the role that they know that they want to be in to achieve. Because, those things are designed to slow you down anyway, which is good. It's good to relax the mind. As you put on some entertainment, whatever you feel is entertainment, just to relax. But at the same time, it's indirectly an illusion on life and reality. You know what I mean? And where you want to be.
It's those 6-figure salaries that we see people living it up. But really, if you were to sit down and talk to them like we do one-on-one, they're miserable. They're miserable. They're terrible. They on the verge of committing suicide. And they want to take somebody else's life, and you're like, "Whoa, you wouldn't know that." And people say, "I know that person." You don't know that person. You watch them on television.
Exactly.
You don't know nothing about it. You don't know that person's real name. They have actors' names. But sometimes we feel like we know people. But I'm a firm believer in decreasing television. I know one of the guys who I was talking about earlier this week when I was on the bus riding back home is the guy. He's kind of talkative, but one thing he doesn't do, he reads a lot. He reads a lot. He doesn't watch a lot of television. And I've also heard that's been linked to people being millionaires and just people being overall successful. And also, too, just not being overweight. Exactly. That's the issue. When we watching television, we sit there, we like,
that's it.
Crunch, crunch, munch, munch. And I'm just like, I'm looking around. I'm just like, I don't want to be like that. I had a when I was in college, just a side note, I did this martial art called capoeira, Afro-Brazilian martial art. Yeah, it was just for 2 months. I did for 2 months while I was in school. But my teacher, he went to Florida. But long story short, he'll walk into we call him professor. He's our teacher. Professor walk into a fast food restaurant. He'll look around and then he'll leave. And he said the reason I will leave because he'll go in, he'll look around. He'll be like, I'm good. I'll skip the cheeseburger. And I'm kind of like, I like my cheeseburger too. But he's right. I was at KFC the other day. I was looking at everybody coming in. And I was like, I know I don't want to be like that. I ain't bashing nobody. They might have some kind of illness, something going on, or some kind of disorder, but I don't want to be like that.
Definitely.
And I want to be able to get the safety if I have to, or protect my family if I have to, or whatever.
That's it.
And the last thing is that I text you about was maintaining integrity and professionalism with coworkers and clients. This kind of leads into something that I briefly mentioned this. But this has kind of come also from a personal level, too. And I don't mind this being recorded. That's why I said it's fine, because I was going to ask you the same thing. Is that, being a black male and being a black male that is trying to live with integrity. Not perfect or whatever, not Mr. Snobbish or whatever, but trying to live with integrity. It's important for me to have that line of professionalism and integrity with specifically our female clients. Absolutely. Because we got a lot of vulnerable females over here. And they know Mr. Josh ain't got no wife and kids, and sometimes things get testy. Let me just say that. Things get testy. So I'm like, any kind of advice or tips in that area, because I do have good people. I got God watching over me. I got some I got some people here looking out for me and just give me advice. I got a mom who looks out for me too and gives me good advice. And I just got to make sure I take that advice because I can find myself in a situation and things can crumble real quick.
Brother, like I said, being a husband and a father and being self-employed, I get hit with temptation directly and indirectly all the time. And I have to be also professional enough to know if I'm delivering testy flirtation stuff as well. And to me, I think the biggest thing to combat that is to have a clear-cut focus on your end goal of where you want to go, your SMART goal. That's a clear-cut focus, because if you focus on that, that's the highest truth, especially from a male's perspective. Because, if you're, like you said, I mean, you're battling nature versus civilization. Civilized. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what it is. Nature, which is a natural thing, don't get me wrong. That's cool.
It is.
But when you're focused and walking on in a civilized standpoint, a civilized position, then you have to make sacrifices, and you'll find out that there are higher truths. You know what I mean? So how can you be a leader or be someone depends on if you're always, caught up? You know what I mean? And then literally and as that stuff goes out and people hear about those things, you lose respect of your peers. You really do. You really do. Or they take you for granted like they know you, and then you end up becoming predictable as well. And that's one thing you don't want to become in your leadership role, is predictable, because then people can use that against you. And it shows your lack of immaturity as well, with all due respect, in the game that we're talking about. I think you actually get more admiration by simply dodging or walking away from it. You know what I mean? Like, you get more love that way. You know what I'm saying?
Now he the real deal.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I really want, because that's what's expected, to fall into the trap.
Some people see that as a challenge.
Exactly.
They gonna be like, oh shit.
Exactly. Because really, if you think about it, it's really just the idea of it all. That's all it is. Because once it's done and you sit back and think about it, both of y'all are more likely to say, what did I just do?
Regret.
You remember shame,
guilt.
guilt. You may mess around and get somebody pregnant. Right. It's just a lot that truly is a lot that you end up losing more than you gain.
Depressed. You go back, what happened to Joshua?
You know what I mean? And with all due respect, you may feel like the especially from a man's perspective, the woman's going to feel like they conquered you. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously. I mean, they feel like, well, I've been there, done that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then indirectly, they'll leverage that against you to some degree.
Some of them, this is not a bash woman conversation, but some of them, that's their end goal. You know, we were just, we were talking about, I know you a church going man, but we were just talking about the Joseph story, a Potiphar's wife or whatever. Most people are familiar with that. If you go to church for like a year, you're going to hear that about the sexual temptation and whatnot. But some people, this one lady said, when we were looking at that again, she was just like, that ain't the first time she's done that. And that's the first time I ever heard that, because you do have some men and women out there to be like, oh, he said no to me?
Exactly.
She said no to me?
Yep.
Oh, no, it ain't going to happen.
Exactly.
So I never saw it from that perspective of just, she got said no to by Joseph. Joseph did. But her pride was hurt. She's like, no, he said no to me, because she's probably done that before. She's probably had her way with different men or servants or whatever. And now she got this one dude, oh, he handsome, to go get him. But he said no. So her pride was hurt, you know.
You're absolutely right. And that's part of the game as well, you know. And so just to bring that all back around, if you have a clear-cut focus of where you want to go, you won't be wavered to the left or the right, put it like that, you know. Or it'll be just that much more harder compared to someone that doesn't know where they want to go and may get enticed by everything that shines, in so many words. So that's my advice on it.
Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense. Just remember that, I mean, goes back to the same thing with career goals. Is remember that end goal. What's your end goal? Keep that in mind. It's kind of like, no, I'm going to hold off on this cheeseburger. I'm going to hold off on doing this mistake right here, because I know it's going to be life-changing.
Because your career goals are personal. They try to say you can separate the two, but you can't, because you're living within your own body.
Exactly.
So you can't separate that.
Right.
So what you do personally...
I always tell you to do that, though.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
I mean, because everything, your health, your temptations, all that goes into your career. True. It can stop it or propel it.
True.
You know what I mean? So
and they spill over to each other too. That's one thing I realized too. So if I like discipline in my spiritual life, it's gonna come in my physical life.
Absolutely.
Or if I'm not taking care of myself and I'm passionate about, not lifting weights and stuff, I'm passionate about like movement and taking care of yourself. So if I don't do that, that's going to go over to my spiritual life or my financial life. So I'm going to be a little sloppy with my money.
That's it.
And a lot of people don't realize, going back to the first thing about dress and presentation, is that when you look a certain way, studies show that people are more likely to listen to you. They got numbers, and again, I don't know which organization or which school did the research, but they got numbers like if you dress a certain way and if you maintain a certain health way, more people are ready. You ain't gotta be Mr. or Ms. Bodybuilder, right? But they say if you in decent shape, more people are likely to listen to you than someone who's overweight. And I'm just like, just that right there, just by being in a decent shape, decent health, can draw 25 more of your audience percentage or whatever to be like, man, I want to listen to this cat. I don't know. And he look all right, but I want to listen to him rather than just, and again, that goes back to presentation, what we talked about earlier, and just kind of having those high expectations of yourself of, be like, I want to be here, y'all right here, but I'm not looking down at y'all, but I'm trying to go here.
Exactly.
Y'all
and hopefully it inspires other people to say, well, you know what, I recognize that I am here, and if this man or woman could do it, it inspires me to do it. Somebody has to take that first step, though. You know, so why not be you?
Right. All right, that's helpful. That's definitely went over. Like I said, having that little layout definitely helps out. And other than that, I really don't have any comments or questions, anything else to make right now. And if it does, I'll call you, text you.
Please do.
And just ask you over the phone. But yeah, this was definitely meaningful. And I'm all about just using my time and energy wisely. And I'm also about not being common. One of the things I wrote down, you said, not getting caught up, but one thing I said, not becoming common, because when you become common, you're normal. You know what I'm saying? And one thing, I don't want to be common. I want people to be like, well, is he? Kind of get my talk.
Exactly.
Does she work here? Does he work here? How much money? You become common, you be predictable. People will be like, okay, we know what he gonna do. We know what she gonna do. But that's my motivation, is become unique or uncommon. You know, don't be like so predictable. Don't be like, I already know what he gonna say. We know what she gonna do or whatever. Get people on their toes.
Great point.
Per se. So
Great point.
that's something that motivates me to kind of separate myself from everybody else too.
Nice.
For sure.
That's all on my end.
All right.
My last request is thank you for your time, JC, and I do want to have this on record where I stand in agreement with you and congratulate you in advance on reaching your goals and being just who you are naturally to help make the world a better place, and to help push people into greater heights in their personal life, because that's how you help the world become a better place.
Right.
And so it's an honor to work with you. Definitely will see you at the top, and it's always an honor when you give me a call and to
hopefully too as we progress. I know I'm gonna see you again, God willing. You be like, okay, Joshua's different in a good way, and he's getting there. He listens to that conversation. Ain't nothing like you give someone all this advice and they don't do it. You need to eat this, you need to do this. They ain't gonna do it, but it's something that's meaningful when you give someone advice and they practice and they actually do it. So that's my next step, is actually practicing and doing.
I look forward to the results, and I'll probably end up seeing you at a conference in Washington, D.C. somewhere sometimes.
I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week.
Oh, really?
There it is. Yeah, we actually going next week. Yeah, on a business trip.
Wow.
And that's one of the main things I want to get with you this week before I go. I said, I want to stand out. I ain't trying to be bougie and fancy, but I want to stand out and be like, man, this brother from Nashville, man, this brother from Tennessee. Yep. I don't know what group he with. Yep. Is he with that group over there, or is he with this group?
I love it.
But that's hilarious. That's
that's how you know. So you're there, man. I already see it, and one day when it's all said and done, and we get a chance to, like I said, not necessarily retire, but just as men grow up and catch up on all those things. I keep my circle very tight. You're someone definitely in my circle. So appreciate your time.
I appreciate it, Mr. Dome.
Definitely.